Hello, I'm Harriet from Harriet Kelsall Jewellery Design, and I'm here talking about our kids' jewellery making kits. I designed these kits to sell in our studio because we do a lot of kids' jewellery workshops, and I haven't found anything on the market that's got just the right ingredients that I wanted to have in a kit, so I decided I'd make some. The kits, just to point out, they're not toys. They are designed as craft activities with adult supervision. They have small parts, so they're not suitable for under 3s. And also the jewellery that is made with the kits isn't a toy either. So for example, if say a 4-year-old was making something for a baby sister, it can break, the elastic can break, so that would be dangerous, and so not a great idea. So just keep that in mind about the small parts. The kits contain quite a lot of beading thread, which is elastic thread, which I find is the best sort for kids because it's very easy to thread and gives a lot of stretch in the finished pieces. Quite a lot of large hold beads, which I find young kids in particular find very easy to thread. It does contain a few with smaller holes for the slightly older kids, but I'd say maybe avoid those with the very young children, or maybe they might need a bit of adult help with those. It's also got some alphabet beads in. They can obviously spell out names or just use the letters as colours, you know, some pretty flowery beads and iridescent beads. So there's absolutely masses that you can make with this kit. There's loads of thread in there, so don't hold back. You know, you have got plenty spare if things go wrong and you need to cut a few pieces. I've got a kit here that I've made up, and you can see you can make absolutely loads from one kit. I mean, this is about 12 pieces, bracelets, necklaces. It's great for bracelets because it just gives that stretch when they go over the wrist. It's also great for necklaces, but I would say don't overstretch the thread. So keep the necklaces quite long, so that they don't take too much to get on. And I've really gone to town here with all different colour combinations. I had fun, you know, you can make some really pretty pieces. So, one thing that I have found from making a lot of jewellery with kids over the years is that it's a very good idea to use a little bit of sellotape on the end of your elastic thread, and that just means obviously the beads don't slip off. I also find they don't work so well with very long or very short thread, so to me this is about the right length for the thread to be for the jewellery making. The other thing I would say is that it's great to have some kind of fabric down to lay the beads on, because it just means that when they're laying out the beads before they thread, the beads don't roll around. And I've also got a tray here, which is obviously great, that they can't knock things and roll them around on the floor. I do try and encourage kids to lay out their designs carefully on the fabric before they start, so it's less a sculptural process and more a bit of thought about the design they're making, which obviously is what the design process is all about. So I find that really helps to encourage that. The next thing that you need to have a think about is how to tie the knot. There is a diagram in the kits of how to tie it, but I've noticed some people struggle with it when they're learning. This is probably a part for the adult supervisor to do, especially with the younger kids. There are 2 different ways of making knots that I find the most successful. The first way is you start off when you're ready to tie the knot, and you tie an ordinary knot left over right, just like you would for shoelaces. Pull that tight, then come back in again and tie another knot, but this time right over left, but twice. So you go right over left once and then right over left twice. So you've got a little bit of a twisty thing going on there, and then you pull all of that tight. And then to pull it really tight, first of all you pull, make sure your knots are over each other, that way. And then you pull that way, and then you find your knot's unlikely to slip. Particularly when you're learning, you may still find it slips, and check it's not slipping before you cut the ends off. One thing that beginners particularly do find helpful is to pop a dot of nail varnish. I find this better than glue for this actually, it's easier for the people to use, it's a bit tidier. A little dab of nail varnish like that, and that will just help prevent your knot from slipping, and then obviously you can trim the ends right off. So that's one way. The way that I actually use of knotting is a bit different, and I find this doesn't need any glue at all. It stays really secure, but I know some people find this fiddly at first. It's called a figure of 8 knot, and to do this knot you bring your 2 strings together like that, And it's a bit like tying an ordinary knot with 2 strands like that, but instead of just coming back through the loop, before you come back through the loop, you twist and then come back. I'll just show you that again because I just fumbled. So you've got your 2 threads like that, you thread it over, making a loop, but then twist the loop before you thread your ends through it, like that. It's one of those things I find easier to do fast than slowly. And this is the sort of knot that I use to secure our bracelets in the showroom. It's easier when you haven't got the sellotape on. When I'm making bracelets for adults, and I don't think I've ever had one come apart that I can think of. So again, like before, you pull that knot one way tight, and then pull it the other way tight, and there you go. Again, you can secure it with a dot of nail varnish if you're worried, and then when you've done that, you can just trim the ends off nice and short, and there you go. So that's how to do the knot. As I say, there is a diagram on the kits as well, but the most important thing is have fun with it. I do notice with kids that it really helps if you're going to do some jewellery making with them, for them to be in the right mood for it. So, you know, I think sometimes the adults are in the right mood for craft activity and the kids aren't, so wait till the kids are in the right mood and then they'll be really responsive to it. It's great for their creativity, it's great for their manual dexterity, and it's lots of fun, and they can make their Christmas presents for Nana and all sorts of things out of it. So hope you have lots of fun with it.